Hi everyone, welcome to the Phoenix Phenomenon, where we focus on the transformative process of writing a book and the incredible and very unique journeys that the authors go on to create books that you love in the bookstores and in your homes today. I'm your host and ghostwriter, Roxanne McCarty-O'Kane, and I'm joined here today by the incredible Stu Darling from New Zealand. So hey Stu, welcome.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Yeah, wonderful, thanks. Sun shining, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent. So to give you a bit of a rundown on Stu, Stu is a leadership resilience coach who created the Lead Through Life framework, which is a proven method through which anyone can find success in any area of life. Now, Stu's been able to have quite a unique experience of being able to draw on many of the experience and also working in the business and bringing this framework to life. And he has some that magically in his book, which is actually called Lead Through Life, which is what we're here to talk about today. So welcome, Stu. I'd love very, very much for you to fill our readers in on Lead Through Life and what the book is all about, what it's meant for you.
Okay, thank you. Well, Lead Through Life and the book itself. The book is the culmination of 2.5 decades of working in leadership positions. The British Army, which was my experience of leadership, teaches how to lead. It teaches the knowledge you need to lead soldiers. But if you're going to be a leader, what you've actually got to do is turn that into something that you can project yourself. And that's where leadership goes from being knowledge to understanding. And the Lead Through Life framework is my understanding of leadership that is simplified so that I can share it with everyone. And we've now proven that it not only works in the military environment, it also works in business, in family, in relationships, but just a really simple 12-word framework that allows you to lead based on my experiences in the military and in business.
Wonderful. And it's more than a how-to book though, isn't it?
It is. It's autobiographical. I'm not going to say it's an autobiography because that's probably still in me. It's autobiographical because what I wanted to do was share some of my stories. And look, they're good fun stories. Some of them are exciting. Some of them are just downright silly. But more important, the point of telling my story is that I want people to reflect on their stories. I want people to reflect on how beautifully unique every single one of us is. And those experiences that everyone has had will guide them in their own leadership journey. So yeah, read the story, read my story, but reflect on how awesome you are and how you can take your own learnings from your life and help other people.
Excellent. It's a wonderful message and one that everyone needs to hear these days, I believe, with everything that's happening. So I'd love to find out from you where it was or when it was that the seed for becoming an author was first planted in your mind and when you first thought, I got a bit of a book in me.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought for a long, long time there's a bit of a book in me, but because of the past that I've had, of running covert operations and being in the military, I've never really thought that it's a story that I should share. But over time, more and more people have been asking me to share my story, and then this is all Liz's fault. My hero of a wife, who is the hero of the story. This is all her fault because we were at a personal development thing in the States just over 18 months ago. And she decided that at the end of that, she was going to write a book. And she's a midwife, and her book was going to be, the picture on the front cover was a midwife handing a baby to a new mother. And the title of the book was Now Keep This Alive. Now, she spoke to you, Roxy, about writing the book, and in the end decided that maybe she wasn't going to write the book after all. And that was the point that I went, actually, do you know what? I'll do it instead. So it's much as it's been years in the making. The decision to write the book was only November 2018. So yeah, just 18 months or so ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, you know, having spent a bit of time with you, Stu, that once you commit to something, it's going to happen. So, but
You know what? It's one of the most annoying things of writing a book called Lead Through Life about leadership. When you commit to something, you can't not do it.
That's it. Yeah. But I did want to ask you about that process, because it is very different for every author, and particularly, you know, as regular viewers of this show, like, every journey is very different. But what was it like for you to get into this process, and how do you feel that your story view of what Lead Through Life would look like had changed throughout, you know, the process from going, I'm going to write a book, to what was eventually in your hands when you had your launch?
Well, I think yeah, the number of titles we went through were, you know, I think we had about half a dozen titles from, you know, from the start. The first title was something like "Not All Heroes Have to Be Super" or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we went through various iterations, and then went back to the simplicity of, well, actually, it's, you know, let's call it what it is. But one of the reasons that I was challenged to write the book, because I've written lots in the past, but never really brought it all together. And yeah, and yeah, I'm more, and I know we've had this conversation with, yeah, before this, Roxy, but I'm more than happy to put my hand up and say, if it wasn't for you, that book would probably still be in bits of paper and Word documents, you know, sitting all over the planet, probably.
Yeah.
Working with you to help bring that book together was the thing that brought the book together. And it was your experience of being able to interrogate me week on week over 3 months to bring the book to life. And that's why I think we went through the transition from the various titles, and from it being probably more autobiographical when we first started, to actually having the framework built throughout it. So yeah, it was, yeah, I mean, it was you that helped me bring it together and get it out there. And then, yeah, then working with the publishers to pull it all together. I had an idea that this book would take 3 months to write, and then by the next month it would be a bestseller in Dimmicks.
Yeah.
A little bit longer than that, didn't it?
It did a little, yes. Just for the record, you probably need to set aside around 9 months for the whole process, writing through to publication, which you discovered, didn't you, Stu?
Yeah, and then some. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Also, don't ever forget that it's your book. You know, it's your book, it's your story, it's your responsibility. I think, you know, where things did slip a little bit was when I maybe lost that a little bit with, you know, with everything else that goes on in life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. And tell me about, for you personally, I mean, obviously, like you said, you had all this experience to draw on, and a framework that you have been working on for many years as well to develop the people you've been working with. What was it like to really hone in on, and, you know, shine a bit of a light on, you know, perhaps even more of those memories from your childhood, and to kind of connect the dots as to how everything kind of led you on your life journey?
I think they don't stop. All these, you know, all these memories, they keep coming back, and it's not just me, it's Liz and the kids as well. They just pop up, and you go, oh yeah, that as well. And, you know, there came a point that we had to stop. I mean, you know, some of the memories, it'd be unfair to say they were painful memories, because when you read the book, you realize that that's not how I view the world. But I mean, yeah, there were, I don't think we had tears when we were talking about the book, but there were certainly some times that it got, you know, it got, yeah, you got a little bit sort of close to the, right, I'm beginning to tear up. But, you know, to actually get the depth of that experience, to be then be able to put it into the book. You know, when I've read the book back, I've realized the depth of some of those experiences that, you know, just because they happened to me, they were just, well, there, yeah, that just happened. So, you know, it does give you a deeper understanding of me. And you realize the important events in your life, the ones that actually shaped you.
Absolutely. Yeah, there were a few misty-eyed moments, I've got to say.
Yeah, no, well,
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's wonderful. And so, yeah, were there any, for you personally going through the journey, were there any moments where you had, some uncertainties about releasing the book, or were you always very sure that this was the next step in your business, and bugger what anyone else thinks, kind of thing?
I think there were obviously some moments you think, is it good enough? And even now when I look at it, I wonder, is it? But then you just think, actually, I really don't care. Yeah, I'm hearing such amazing stories from people who've, they've got to page 2 of the book and they're going, oh wow, this is amazing. The experiences that they're getting from the book underpins the fact that it was right to get on with it and do it. Look, it's human nature to have wobbles every once in a while. But no, I mean, it was all, once we committed to it, we were always going to write this book. We were always going to publish it. As I say, I'm really glad that I did go through that process because of some of the things that people are saying about it, and they're not even people that know me.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, they will know you a lot better once they finish the last page, won't they? Yeah. As a businessman, were you always looking at it as well as, another element or another extension of your business as well to create a book?
Yeah, definitely. So Lead Through Life is the book. Lead Through Life is my one-to-one coaching program. It's my online course. It's the work I do with businesses. This is just one of the strands of the business. It wasn't just right, here's my book and I get on with the rest of life. It really is. Even in the fashion brand of the company, Lead Through Life is me. That's one of the things that I've come to recognize through this. And the book is just a part of getting my message out there.
Awesome. No, that's great. And I was going to ask you that too, did writing a book and going through this process help you solidify some areas of your business as well going forward?
Yeah, very, very much so. Maybe not so much the writing of the book, but getting it in, when it arrived in my hands, I went, wow, this is the book. And then you read through it and you go, wow, right, okay, this message is sound. And then when you start getting the feedback, it just gives you a confidence that, I've had people say to me over the last few weeks that I'm a completely different person to the person they met for coffee 2 months ago. And that's because I'm actually really just comfortable in me now, because all of my secrets, some of my secrets are in this book. There's no fear about sharing who I am, because all you've got to do is pick up a copy of the book. It's too often in life we choose not to be ourselves because we don't want to lose friends and acquaintances. Well, actually, if you choose to be yourself, you end up with the right friends and acquaintances, and that's something that I'm really comfortable with, and that's come through this process.
That's awesome. All right. And since, even in the lead up to the launch of your book, you've been, out there doing the live workshops, your big live, a few other things. I know you're in a set of online things at the moment, but where do you see you being able to take the book to next? I know you're already getting a lot of media interviews and a lot of interest from people who are getting to know about the book and what's your next vision?
So where we go? Book 2 is already in my head. And I think Liz had grand designs of locking me in a room for the 4 months or the 4 weeks that New Zealand's in lockdown, and I would come out with book 2 written. So I'm not finished writing yet. We booked Lead Through Life Live for May. And that had to be postponed because obviously with events going on at the moment, we can't put 350 people in a room. So that's now rebooked for October, and that's really Lead Through Life Live is it's about the Lead Through Life framework, but it's also about where my learning has gone from almost the end of the book to where we are now. and helping people understand that we all do have an important part to play in the world. And what's your story? What's your message? How can we live better? How can we interact better? How can we live smarter? How can we be fitter? And more healthy? All of that. That's where Lead Through Life's going. That's what I do with my one-to-one clients. That's what I'm doing with ever increasingly bigger businesses that are reaching out for assistance. And the great thing about that is there was always an idea that there would be an element of Lead Through Life that would be not for profit, where we could choose who we wanted to work with. And by having bigger clients, it gives me leverage to actually do that. And that just expands the scope of Lead Through Life. So next step is, continue working with a whole bunch of fascinating, lovely people, but also then grow it into the live events that never make it to New Zealand.
Yeah, that's it. And what I loved about your definition of leadership is that, quite often people pigeonhole leadership as, leaders in the workplace, leaders who are leading the country. But you're also marking at, even parents are leaders in household, and, all those different dynamics as well, which I found really awesome with working with you. So that message is now coming out into the world through your book.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always surprised me that people seem to think there are business leaders, there are government leaders, there are, this leader, the sales leaders. No, there are leaders. Don't try and make something simple complex. Just keep it simple. I mean, we understand why some leaders decide to make it complex, because that's the power play. But that's an ego play. That's a very, very old-fashioned sort of leadership. Well, the industrial era leadership. We're all leaders, so don't tell me that you're a business leader or you're a leader in education system or whatever you choose. Just say I'm a leader, and allow other people to recognize that they're leaders. We're all leaders in our own right. All leadership is an extension of being a good human being. Well, that really simplifies it and tells us that we're all leaders. So let's not try and create power and ego plays. Let's recognize that leadership is about service, and we can all go out there and do it. We all are going out there and doing it.
Absolutely. And I feel like now more than ever we need to be enacting that, don't we? With to bring us all out of this fog and into a better place. One of the things that I look at this period that we're in at the moment as a great opportunity. And look, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I understand that those people who are in the thick of it have got family members who have got the virus, or are some of the workers that are really digging out to support beating this. But for the rest of us, what an awesome opportunity. When did we last have such a long time to spend with our families? When did we last have the opportunity to not have to travel to work and not have to spend time on the car or in public transport? We've got an opportunity to learn. We've got an opportunity to educate ourselves even more. And the saddest thing I think that could come out of this is that we go back to the old normal. Let's not do that. Let's all stand up and lead ourselves into that new place. I mean, I've been calling it in the last week, that undiscovered country, just to pretend that I used to read Shakespeare. That undiscovered country that is the future. Well, let's take time to reflect on the stuff that we didn't like before all of this started, and what we want to become. And if all of us just grew a tiny little bit during this period of uncertainty, what an amazing place the undiscovered country could be. And that's all done through leadership. Absolutely. No, I love that. That's great. We need to bottle that, Stu.
Yeah, book 2.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Okay, and so being at the other end of your book launch, having your book out there in the world, and it's available to anyone. We'll talk about that in a second. What would be your advice to people who have had that niggling thought of I want to write a book, maybe I'll get started? What would be your advice to them to take action like you did?
yeah, do it. Yeah, it really, but that's my attitude to life.
Yes.
Do it. And if you don't know how to do it, find someone who does. Figure it out. We live in an age where we've got information at our fingertips. We've got technology that allows us to talk across the globe instantaneously. So if you've got an idea for a book, then get on with it, because your story, your challenges that you're going to tell in your book, they're the stepping off point for someone else. That someone else doesn't have to go through all of the same pitfalls and mistakes that you've made in life, or whatever you're going to write about, because you are the stepping stone that gets them onto greatness. So treat it as service to fellow human beings. You've got a responsibility to tell your story. So get out there and do it. And if you're not sure how to do it, or if you don't think you can write, find someone like you to help you. Find a ghostwriter and go, right, look, can you help me, please? And you did. And I mean, I realized that when you asked me to write a few bits and pieces to add to the book, I thought, actually, I can do this. But you were the catalyst. So get out there and write your book, or find someone to help you write that book, because the world needs more normal people to tell their stories. Because if we're out telling our stories, then we get away from the fact that it's only the famous, it's only the athletes, it's only the actors and actresses out there that get to tell their stories. We've all got stories to tell, and some of those stories are even more important to the world that we live in. So write the book and engage in the process, enjoy the process. And as I say, if you do it as an act of service, what's not to enjoy?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love your point about that too, is that, at the end of the day, and one thing I've learned from interviewing a number of, celebrities over the years, is that at the end of the day, they are just people. Like, they're just people, but obviously they're prepared to step up and tell theirs. So we've got to give more people the confidence to feel that they can do it too. So
completely, yeah. And I think those people do actually see themselves as just people. They're doing their job. Sometimes we look at them and think, wow, no, they're actually just people doing a job just like you and me.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Okay, and so how, for people who are listening and watching, how can they get hold of a copy of Live Through Life and to embody all of these amazing principles?
Okay, well, the easiest way to do it is go to my website, www.studarling.com, and there's a drop down. There's a pop up, and you just buy the book. If you prefer to listen to it, it's available on audio, which I think is through Amazon. And if you prefer Kindles, I've even got the ebook as well. But I'm a great fan of books and actually being able to thumb through the pages. So go to the website, and you can buy the book there. And there's also a whole load of other great free stuff that I post that you get from the website as well.
Excellent. All right, and stay posted, because it sounds like book 2 might be out in the next little bit. So.
Well, we know what the framework of it looks like already, so now we've just got to fill up the words.
Awesome. You make it sound so easy.
That's because you helped me.
All right. Thanks so much for your time, Stu, and for sharing your journey with us today.
No, thanks a lot for taking the time to talk.
Not a worry. I'm always happy to talk. You know that. All right. Thanks, Stu.
Thanks.